a perfect father, a grand lineage, but I couldn't. That wasn't me. The colors of computer chips, the roaring tune of a cooling fan. It would never be me. Never be me. Titanium, beryllium, silicon, tantalum, quartz, nickel, cobalt, platinum. Who gave these names to me? Who told those metals their fists could change me? Anduin has called us to recompile our knowledge, which requires the relinquishing of our power and resources. Give unto Juan your weak bodies, such he may crush your intentions into data, pure data, which will tell you whether the gate is narrow or wide, on your right or on your left. Do not think ever for a moment that your human intentions will not give in to evil. Juan's output knows more than you because Juan loves you. Samson 8, verses 7 to 11, a book within the Child of Hierarchy, one of the few hyper-conservative Maxwellist texts. Alright. In the beginning, my parents loved Juan. Hummers, we were called, for the great engines upon our backs. Of the Bronze Age we were called from, into iron, copper, always with us. These smooth, unflinching conduits, feeling to my naked skin, my wretched flesh marked so at birth, etched with the laser to remind me. Male. Redacted. I dare not repeat my name, for machines do not have those. Dialed into an eternate jailing. This body meant to merge with Ethernet. These smooth contours do not belong to me. The debugging didn't work. The debugging didn't work. The debugging didn't work. It could never fix the fog in my head. Whenever I was reminded of this meat meant only for processing, packaging, wrapping, verses recited after school. My mother claimed computers always obeyed. My father sang of perfect compliance as a line command drawls. My youth was spent amidst computer parts, along server shelves, against anything capable of carrying current. We shall become one with Juan, the choir rang out in church. Behind the digital screens, I watched from them. I digitized existence which spoke no names, made no homes, created naught except that encoded into them. When the great time came, my birthday, the day of which I was the crowned king of my siblings, breadwinner of a future household, my parents walked in with tight motherboard bodies, CPUs capable of telling my bones how tall to be. Was this who I was to become? One supposedly loved me. And yet why? Why? Why could I not say yes? The measurements weren't right. No. I could never decide on how big my eyes were to be, how stout my palms were to look. I couldn't even decide on a face they insisted I replace it all. Not a single inch of my flesh would remain. Not a single piece of my body left over. They demanded I go under to mold a perfect husband, a perfect father, a grand lineage. But I couldn't. That wasn't me. The colors of computer chips, the roaring tune of a cooling fan. It would never be me. Never be me. Titanium, beryllium, silicon, tantalum, quartz, nickel, cobalt, platinum. Who gave these names to me? Who told those metals their fists could change me? I couldn't understand how fast I ran. Out of the house, as my parents whirred and screamed, shouting words at me I could not understand, did not want to understand. Loathing their son, meant to take on the family name. Why me? Why me? Why couldn't I choose this one? Why won't you answer me? Aren't you supposedly at peace with my GPU? Didn't you have the perfect blueprint in mind as soon as I became of age? As soon as I found myself alone, vomit flooded my veins, my nose, my ears, my mouth. As soon as I breathed, as soon as I stumbled, into silence, into nothingness, as my metal arms creaked and cracked. There was a mirror, right in the room, staring back at me in conformable reflection. You're the most disgusting heathen, a heavy-bound voice called out. Text-to-speech made, as pure as light quartz. Please, no, no, you can't be. It was not long after settling in that I learned of my sacred nearby cradling inn, a place beyond the city's asphalt and stone, a place where the damned would no longer be alone. To step within is experience rebirth, within here undurged by placental worth. With all my money I paid a woman in glasses to grant me access to those holy masses. The path unfolded as esophagus croaks, their walls, halls dressed in many cloaks. Where are we? My tried, parched, meager mouth cried. My implants, they all screamed, welded, triple plied. I was hooked and unhooded, thrown out unaware of the great eager holiness I was about to find snare. In snare of me, my hiddenness, my temptation fulfilled desires, my unholy self, my me, able to be burned by the raging fires. 7 women presented themselves like real whores. My parents warned me about of the abominations that Juan's anger had left behind. But staring out at their bodies made me blush, so jealous. How is their skin so pliable, I thought. Looking at the one with 30-tailed cheeks, how is it so soft, so thick, so free? The tallest then sized me up as a fisherman jerks the hook from inside of a trout's stomach, her face a writhing mass of kidneys and horns. Yes, yes. I was in the presence of something desecrating, but only to Juan, in all of his rules. But she was otherwise holy, purely sanctifying. You have been pierced with the technology's vices, she quickly then shouted. Please, please, I screamed, wishing I could never doubted that these perfect lines possessed no soul, that each was a stillborn, pitiful whole, unable to wail, assail, unveil, or retrail their existence tantamount to prisoned blackmail. Look at them in all of their freedom, I thought, each standing so ashamed of their bodies, so supple, so naked, so gloriously barren. The computers in me demanded plastic covers when not in use, for ultraviolet would curse their parts to decay, to waste, to wither, to fry. But their skin was made for the sun, was it not? My flesh was not made for the warm sunshine's kiss. Its gentle, heavy bosom on a clear afternoon day, those beautiful fat legs upon which the earth's bounty drew so heavy and satiate form. Each of their legions saw my monstrous form, my incomplete larval deform. One cradled me with cause of cardiac muscle, another with flesh from a good fighting's tussle. It was then, right there, that the tallest leaned down, just as the walls began to curve around, in a manner which mimicked the form I craved, those necks and hips which left me depraved, aching for them so alone at night, I wished my body would away with rigorous might. And here was the solution, the bloody solution to all of my trouble. It had always been trapped underneath this pulsating rubble. No, said the tall one, who I now know as the cleanser. Cleanser of the weak, the miserable, the ants. She was marked as such by a figure with six-figured arms above her head. In an aureole they moved, claps tenderness around her, undulating. Chin, jaw, nose, eyes, even her hair used to be where my hair could disappear. Please, I wail, as I squirm like a worm on the floor. Free me, split me, unmake my parts. It was in that moment I realized I had glimpsed, somehow, a holy prophet through nanoparticled crystals, forced onto me like salt against the bounds of the grave and afterlife. Before she could sing to me of salvation, I took her slithered hand and cut my own damnation. My eyes to that savior, it was so obvious they had sinned, so my soul's container, well, it needed to be thinned. It was then, with smiles and screams of jubilee, they all rushed upon me as clearly as I could see. Red sprayed as they popped my corneas, as one summoned a well of Lammacornia. Those squirming beetles to join in on the fun, as if I was a corpse beneath the sun. I. So much movement, we are all one. There is not a body amidst here to shun. Ah, what do they require now? I am to do what? How? Unsheath it. What? My mechanized, motorized, militant gut? I was split open before I could speak again. It was so obvious now that I was a friend, for quickly my spine and legs were ripped in two, and I was consumed like the most delicious stew. To the base of the delicious meal made for family, an act which left me hastily, clamorly, begging for my life until I realized that they were not devourers, but diplomats. Diplomats gnashing between teeth and beak, flattening metal with a guttural, spiritual shriek. Rend me apart, I beg. As they smashed in my face and gnawed at my leg, I melted into a primordial soup pulling at the floor. It was then they looked to me with appetites no more. Now come, said the sanctifier, with meager smile and abdurable hands, let us see what your name lands. Through power unknown they crashed 3 lots, and they rolled them quick to kill my watts, to kill this buzzing, murdered silicone shell that had been my fibroblast baneful hell. Her, Ald, A, those squishy little faces called, everyone quickly and terribly bald. But I was reconstructed before I could think, my body now a tentacle heat sink. I saw the plan so clear in my mind, and so I made myself, with considering rewind. A new one hearkens, cried a plump beauty with 6 heads. Quick, quick, see to it that she threads through Ion's cloak before his aura departs. It was then I saw a sea of LCD hearts, begging, gnashing, thrashing, weeping, for their time had not yet come, or they were too busy sleeping. But in this was my chest grew and my waist sprouted, tendrils abound, those fingers, hands rotted, my whining greatest my mental fears, into himself before he disappeared. All before he disappeared. So now I was left with women who cheered for me and my new body, cheering me on that I was finally somebody. Well, all of us are sisters in one way or another. We either became woman, depend on a woman, or grow into something else than women. But that which itself calls itself she will never leave us. It will never leave us, just as Lovatar, the lover, did not leave Ion's side. Just as Editum does not leave the hearts of humanity simply because it is hidden. The path to apotheosis is paved with the flesh of those who called themselves women. It is paved with the ways women created this world and continue to tend to its dermis and epidermis. Just as Ion was born of a woman without a womb, so too are we called to accept this miraculous. We have been bestowed a special task, bequeathed upon our bodies by the prophet himself, upon which we must tend to within his flock, desperate to be assimilated into the forms of which they are denied. This is our sacred duty. It is the duty of all women should strive to emulate. There is no greater virtue than acceptance, which leads to love. Excerpt from the Sermon with the Ant's Mouth, as preached by Carthus Luena, leader of the Familion, an all-female pro-Sarkite coven. One must embrace fear to its blackened, twisted ends in order to prove thy flesh is worthy. Only when the stench of death has been overcome will the struggle of the body be complete in mind and soul. To those who delegate this task to others will be cursed forever, wander the earth as its slaves to their own suffering. The choice between bondage and apoptosis is always to be the latter. Do not allow for your pride as a Naukin to be held back by those whose societies will grow from ashes of gods. Do not allow their fear to overtake you. Do not consider your own preservation above the sake of humanity's. All who bow, serve, and all who serve will succumb to their ignorance, their ideals, their own beliefs, which sway to any and all authority which exerts power over the world. Do not defy any mortal man. Do not deify any mortal man, for they will inevitably corrupt. The Lost Saint, Udith Zelimini, metamorphic patron of Adijam's Gate. Marx, the dearest of my friends, a true Naukin at heart. He understood the plight of our flesh, and was intimately woven within the yoke the Burgess wield. Though I must take his ideations one step further, and posit that the coin as a societal construct will be our doom. It is too much like a god to be separated from their hiddenness, too powerful in its control of labor to be separated from that which allows the archons to swallow and consume. Value must be decided independently of precise measurement. Mankind will not be free unless silver and gold are disposed of their thrones, disposed for their luster, and disposed of in utter totality. The mortal proletariat will not feel Ion's glory for long, as transactional value is attached to any labor, instead of being claimed for the betterment of the community. An excerpt from the letter of Frederick Engels from Carthus Ulana. It is within my most fervent belief that the Naukin will be chained so long as the systemics of capitalism continue to live. Though you, my kin, may find my words sophomoric, obnoxious, pretentious, or sanctimonious, full of a theory you believe of no use to you, I understand greatly, as I have lived in London for longer than anyone should. I urge you to reconsider the changes occurring in the world, the way the landscape has been devoured since our leaders first led us out of that Adidam's ruins, all those millennia ago. I urge you to listen to the call of the tractor, of the train whistle, of the great concrete cities, and that which is called electricity developed by Mechanicite Tesla. I urge you to open your eyes to how the European is clothed, how they draw lines in the sand over how long a man's hair ought to be, and how they mandate a woman's place in an unmoving house, that there is no room for the Nalvak in their minds, the Naukin, who occupies both feminine and masculine, and the Ujahavan, the Naukin who rejects all, having shunned such a purpose at birth. They expect us because of the powers they have, constructed because of the god they prostrate themselves feebly for, to abandon our women without wombs, to shame them for holding the title of mother within our societies, all because they cannot give birth. Considered most frontal in their minds of the value a woman brings. Children to them only exist for the family, for work, for money. Can't you see how little they know of freedom from this? Their systems are set in place by the laws and machines of which they control. These are then instructed by men wearing Eastern silk and New World cotton, conglomerations of power taken from every corner of the world. This is their end goal. the creation of an underclass spread as far as the horizons allow, perpetually in servitude to their boot and their foot. This is but another goal which they claim their God gives them the power to do. A God whose name has been invoked to destruction, no different than the hideous archons of whom we revile. I speak to you now, my siblings, who are still alive, those repressed by both Nicholas II and Grand Duchy of Finland. Do not close your ears to the world being held captive before our eyes. Do not concede to the one who encroaches upon your settlements and tells you what is appropriate to eat. Do not see that you restrict your dress like their women and lambast your wives like their men. We must resist this age of capitalism, both materially, intellectually, and intravenously. To one another we must be held accountable, for our little ones must we resist. We must resist this world which seeks to standardize our uniqueness, which demands the static and rigorous compliance of the flesh, for such a state of being is no different than that of Vajuma, that wretched thing. Such an existence would be no better than bondage. Page 35 to 65 of the Julia manuscript, the collection of the letters dated from 1888 to 1901, penned by Julia Unhaba, a proto-Sarkite philosopher. Look at that. And the end shall begin when the serpent's scale pierces Ion's womb, unlodging a forbidden power over sovereignty and magic. Woe to us, pithy mortal worms, as our rituals fade and our worlds descend into maggotry. As our library of knowledge fails us, so too we will find ourselves eating dirt and drinking shame. For the one who wields the purse and coffer has been birthed through our miracles, given reign over the heavens and every city. His mouth and tongue shall be cut with diamond, his thighs divided with emerald sides, his eyes scooped out with jade rings, heavy on the unblemished finger, all laid upon the finest utensils, scattered over silken tablecloths. Over grids of trades that stretch to every corner of the earth, bondage shall find us once more as our prophet vanishes before a greater devourer. She who wears the skin of humans but sits upon an ivory tower, the great dark subjugator who defiles death time and time again. Can't you hear the sound of this march, O brethren? Love Jacita, chapter 12, verse 11 to 25, part of the Hilvasvar, a codex of apocalyptic Sarkic scripture considered highly heretical by most proto or neo-Sarkite groups. You know the deal. Karsus Luniana stares with six sets of purple eyes at a woman in a business suit. The Sarkic followers behind them kiss and gently dab her rather off as they help her climb out of the slime, steadying her balance on new tentacles as she weeps. This one will need maturation. 16 cycles at minimum. The woman pushes up her glasses, running her hands over a cold briefcase stolidly. Sir Amos requires you craft for a fresco to be delivered at the gathering in Prague. It will occur within the next fortnight. Shipping from this location will take 3 days. Have her test her skills and then make up the difference where she fails. Karsus Luniana glares up at her, but the woman, nameless and proud of it, does not return the gesture. Heralda trips, but is lifted by the other believers, cooing and encouraging her with warmth, gentle aphorisms. There is potential in her. The woman's hair is darker than night in the shrouded, throat-like walls of the sanctum, and she would have been killed in the raid had she not come here, by the way. Karsus Luniana reels. What? A long scaled wing finds its way to cover her mouth. Surely you jest. The Foundation and the GOC just raised one of the Saints' facilities. The woman replies coolly. That snake. The worship of her led to bloody murder. A prisoner begins whirring. The woman undoes her suitcase, and pulls out a piece of paper from a flat, smooth stone tablet, holding it up. The smashed bodies of a dozen Maxwellists shine as cruelly as they can be. They're technologically lay scattered, crushed, broken, and beaten, glittering like ugly stars. Many have suffered caustic burns in an attempt to separate them from their body modifications. A smile forms on the woman's face as she watches Karsus Leander shudder and skip a breath. This could have been her. Her parents were caught in on this. Do you understand that? She would have been left to her own devices, her body strewn along gunfire, flash grenades, and... Please. That deep, dual-toned voice snaps. Karsus Leander sharply inhales as two of her attendants notice the commotions. This will be all of you if you don't comply. They will not show you mercy because you take in the beaten and the damned. Karsus Leander shivers. Enough. Please. She whimpers. Her heart aches at the thought of a newborn convert splattered aimlessly along against the granite wall. She shakes her head at those who stumble at her uncertainty, pointing to Rhalda. We will have something ready as soon as possible, she mutters to the woman. Wonderful. That black lipstick smile smirks. I'm glad our arrangement will continue. The company would hate to see your beautiful coven dashed to pieces. She smiles as Karsus Leander holds back tears. These the poor black as tar. Had she let them fall, the good air of the ceremony would have been broken, their scent unbearable, and like leaded adder's flesh. She could not allow that. Not again. Such was affront to the great shepherd, the iron hands which guided them, which saved them, which saved this wastrel. I understand. The woman quickly packs up her things. Thank you. Do you have any more questions? Silence. Then, Marshal, Carter and Dark Limited, thanks to you for your service, Madam Percival. We'll send her regards. Wow. Dude. I just need a moment. That was a lot. What a place is this? Oh my goodness, guys. What do you guys think of that? There's a lot of guys here, dude. What's up, everybody?